Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And
Roast.
I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
This is our reaction and review for The Amazing Race 38, Episode 6. It was very fitting that all of the teams were surrounded by torrential rain over the course of this because as a viewer, I felt like the producers were raining sadness all upon all of us.
I just felt like nothing really happened here. Like the challenges were drive, move some salt, and take a quiz.
Like, okay, I'm frustrated because this last episode was by far the best episode that they've had the entire season. Awesome location, great creative tasks,
Yeah.
things that were legitimately challenging. And I don't want to sound like just a hater, but at the same time, production. You have a really good cast of teams, really, really dynamic personalities. By not equalizing people, by not giving a level playing field, you're basically cutting off your own ability to make good TV. The Izzy Jag rivalry, for example,
Yep.
we can't have that if they're not close and interacting with each other. They're just at a distance. And so all of the storyline potential, you have just tossed it down deep into that water where that greeter and their bizarre 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea costume was.
Yeah, I mean, and also it was like a half an hour into this episode, and it's like Eric and Tucker are getting their clue to go to the pit stop. And I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, there's still an hour left. Like, what is going on? This is all the challenges are. Like, it was flat. This episode just fell flat.
No, it was a complete and total miss, and it's no fault of the teams. Like, that's the sad part of it. It's just that I feel bad for their inability to be able to produce great television with a leg that was designed like this.
Yeah, I mean, they're in such a beautiful place. It's like this is what you could come up with, especially the running around and taking a quiz. Like it feels like even with that really important information about this place is getting lost because it's just take a quiz and like know about this part of the alphabet and when this was built and what poet is this. It's like I don't even think any of the viewers are really going to absorb this information. Even any of the racers are either.
I had more exciting quizzes in my sixth grade geography class. Like, I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
We have still a lot to get into with this episode, but before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are rapidly closing in on 90,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. If you guys were not aware, we have been doing videos at the channel for many, many years. We are so grateful to everyone who has discovered us along the way.
Yeah, we really are. This is a huge milestone for us. And
Mhm.
yeah, we've been in these YouTube streets a very
Yeah.
long time. So thank you so much.
All right, let's just start with the first measure of disappointment here. They go to what looks like the coolest ancient arboretum of all time. And the
Yeah.
moment they're doing that, I'm just sitting back and being like, woo, because I love a good arboretum. I love exploring the flowers, the trees. And what were they there for? All of about 15 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, I think they even said there was a tree there that's like 500
Yes.
years old. I mean, that's amazing. And yeah, and they were there for like 15 seconds and they're really focused in on on the team, so you're not actually even really seeing much of what's in there.
I would have rather had a quiz on the lore of that tree than anything else that they
Yeah.
gave later on. So, like, that part of it was already a disappointment. But then we get to the first detour here, which is all right, do you want to haul salt around or do you want to do the oyster challenge in the water?
Yeah, I want the oyster challenge. I'm not hauling around a bunch of salt. Like it's just not. It's not for me. I don't want to lift all that. It's way too much labor, and I know that I'm not built for it. I'm too small.
Okay, here's going to be the problem for the Matt and Jess Amazing Race team. They said the clue, and one of them, which turned out to be the oysters, that said pull them up.
Mhm.
I would immediately think that this means doing pull ups. And let me tell you guys one thing. We had to do, when I was in elementary school, the standardized fitness test. I don't remember what it was called, but pull ups were a part of it. I did one. One, the look of shame that gym teacher gave me was traumatic. It was like the time I had to get him to tie my shoes because I couldn't figure out how to do it until I was in the 4th grade.
Okay, I'm now understanding your post on Blue Sky. I saw you post something
Okay.
about that, and I was just like, pull-ups? What's he talking about? No, that boat challenge would have been the challenge for us. That salt challenge, that is not the challenge for us.
I am mighty good at a wheelbarrow. I will throw this out here.
I can row a boat and we can pull this up out of the water, pull a buoy out of the water with some clams on it.
Okay.
But it is fine.
If you are confident enough in this, because here's a very big surprise to everyone. I cannot row a boat. I feel like I would get us rowing in a circle. So what we're getting at
No,
here.
the teams that were doing it right were the teams where each person had an oar and you were like, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's not that hard.
We would be finishing. Phil would come to us during the detour because Jess would
No.
either be passed out at the wheelbarrow or I would be drowning in the ocean because I would have tipped our boat over.
No, you would have been just fine. We would have had that boat one, but that other one I wouldn't have been able to participate in. There's no way.
No, okay. We have that. And it's just the problem here with this detour. It's really hard to get it wrong for an extended period of time. Yeah, you can mess up one of the bags of salt, and we saw that happen. And
Yep.
it's just like, all right, you know how to do it right. So you just run back and do it again. This is not something as intricate as what we saw with the downhill Mario Kart simulator last week, where there were all these little puzzles and you had to do the race down. There were so many different things that could go wrong. It's either you get the bag right or you don't get the bag right.
Yeah.
So that was just not altogether compelling at all. And that's before we even get into the how well do you know our country? Let's just go wander around and look at various things that are on the map for you.
This was one of the worst challenges. This just looking at this map, wandering around and taking a quiz. There were so many other things they could have done there. This really felt just rushed. Like they didn't really know what to do. They were just like, we'll have them take a quiz and, we'll switch the questions around. And while that part was good, and I'm glad that they had it that way so that people couldn't game the system like we saw Taylor try to do. She was like, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
just going to ask what the questions are. And that way I know what to go and study for, which makes total sense because typically that's the way tests are. But,
Yes.
that isn't how it worked here. You still did okay.
I'm gonna put on a tinfoil hat here. I'm going to try to give these producers the benefit of the doubt, even though it's really hard after a leg like this. The rain was torrential at times during this episode. Did you guys have a better idea that you had to cancel because of the weather? Because I'm just sitting here, even while you were talking about how beautiful this location is and how there's all these different things. Couldn't you do, I don't know, you're in Croatia could you do like a joust? Could you do something, a non-dangerous version of a joust? You're not actually, taking each other out, but there were just so many other ideas they could come up with that I refuse to acknowledge or believe that this was what they had in mind the entire time.
Yeah, take a test. It was not good. Although I would say that Matt would crush this. So
Oh, I
I
totally
would have
would've
been
crushed
yeah,
this.
I would have been fine with this when I saw this be like, oh, okay, we've won.
Yeah, like there's a part of it that seemed somewhat geography based. There was some of it that's
Yep.
history based. Like
Yep.
I'm not a super history buff, but I'm pretty good at studying. I can retain information like that. I can remember factual things really well. Like I know the Japanese word for vending machine, Jito Hanbaiki. Forgive me if I didn't know that right, and everybody in Japan's gonna destroy me in the comments, but I can't remember what I get up to do sometimes. This I would do really, really well at, but that does not mean that it's good television. I'm not
It's not.
I'm not watching this show for let's see what amazing race challenges I can succeed at, because that just seems like a really bad premise.
The other part of this challenge that so many teams seem to be having problems with was the driving, and I completely understand it. Driving a stick, shout out to my stepdad, John, who really tried to teach me stick when I was trying to learn how to drive, and he has the patience of a saint on that before he finally was like, this just isn't for you, kid, and move me to an automatic, we wouldn't be able to even do the race because of something like this. I cannot drive a stick. Matt cannot drive.
Yeah, this would have been a big problem. I was actively thinking about this because I was trying to like recount all how long I've known you, and I was like, does Jess know how to drive a stick? Because
No, and I really tried, and I had a really good teacher, and I couldn't get it.
yeah, like this is just one of those sort of things where if you're going on the Amazing Race, you have to do your research, make sure somebody is aware of this. It seemed like, Jag and Jazz ironically had a little bit of trouble during it,
Yep.
given their history, but most teams kind of sort of had figured that out. So I'm guessing they studied up. But while we're on Jag and Jazz, I will give them a brief shout out. That roadblock strategy they had with the quiz was pretty interesting, of going back and realizing, oh, there's different questions that are being asked, so I need to kind of be even more up to speed on some things.
Yeah, that was very, very, very smart that they went. We're like, okay, we'll see what the questions are. Okay, we'll go back and make sure that they are the same questions. Oh, okay, they're not. Very smart.
If I'm that quiz master and I'm just standing there, I would kind of think in the back of my head, I know I have to read these lines, but are these people, they're not cheating because it's not against the rules here, but you're being creative with the rules. I don't know if I would be that thrilled about that.
Okay, the same with not being thrilled. Let's talk about Stephanie, who was not thrilled that Natalie was like, "Hey, we'll come back for you." No, I totally agree. Like, it's one thing to be in an
Yeah.
alliance. Like, I was totally team Stephanie on this.
Mhm.
It is one thing to be in an alliance and help people when you can, and it's another thing to be like, "We'll go get our car and come
I
all the
know.
way back to help you out." No, you're racing for all this money. Like, stop it.
And this is episode 6. If it's episode 2 and you know you're in, I don't know, second or third place, maybe you have that luxury, but the
Yeah.
number of teams, it's getting progressively smaller and smaller.
Yes.
You can probably assume there are at least a couple of teams ahead of you at this point. I am 100% team Stephanie too on this. It's just there's no reason to take the risk, especially with Joseph and Adam, two like extremely fit guys. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, I would just feel like I get the Big Brother players are all playing in a certain way because they all play Big Brother, but you're all playing with people that aren't Big Brother players, except for Taylor, of course.
Yeah.
But in general, you're playing with non Big Brother players who are there to maybe want to make a name for themselves or win the race or win the money. Like it's not just about, okay, this is how we know how to play. That was a big mistake. And I know Natalie was like, yes, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. But Natalie has done too much for too many other teams, sitting there and writing out
Yeah.
instructions, all that. That didn't need to happen either. Like she's doing the most in this alliance for the other people.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, would they do that to the same extent for you? And I feel like at this point, the answer has to be no. So shout out Tucker and Eric. Like, I am a
Yes.
longtime fan of Tucker, so I am not mad at all that he is just dominating the show at this point.
Yep.
Sure, it's great if you have adversity, but it's not his fault that these challenges are so easy for them. It's the producer's fault for not giving them any real competition.
Yes.
Also, Rubina and Christine, I like the two of you. You
Yeah.
never had a chance in this leg.
Wow.
Never. Like,
No, it's really sucks. I really like them too. They were a joy to watch.
yeah, it just felt like they tried to show them struggling at a couple of the challenges to almost make it seem like it was their own fault that they were eliminated. They also tried later to show that there was some real contention going to this pit stop, which I
Mhm.
just don't believe it though. I just feel like they were so far behind at the start of this leg and pending, I don't know, another team driving to another country. There was no way we were going to get any result other than this. The producers, you guys really have to adjust this moving into future seasons because you're relying too much on the star power of the Big Brother contestants.
Yep.
And you're not relying on yourselves to make a really competitive leg.
Yeah, and especially with this leg where you do have a challenge here where you are moving all this salt or you're doing, the boating challenge, and both of them are very long challenges to do. So there is just kind of no catching up.
That is where we are, though, with the Amazing Race 38, episode 6. Did you guys like this leg more than us? Or are you in a spot where you really like the teams and you're just like, what are you guys doing with the actual episodes? Be
Mhm.
sure to let us know in the comments and hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 90,000 subscribers. We would be so appreciative of
Yes.
that. It's a huge milestone, and we will see you guys here next time.